should. That's the big one. Okay, boil, correct? Because when you start using the brakes, constant stopping, what happened to temperature? It goes up then, right? When the brake fluid boiled, is that good or bad? Why is it bad, sir? Because when it boils, what does it create? Water bubble. What's inside a bubble? Huh? Air, right? Can we compress the air, yes or no? Yeah. Correct? You good? And that's what causes brake fade, right? Okay, good. A clogged hydraulic hose. What do you mean by clogged? Something kinked? Does that make any sense to you? What about the blister? Remember talking about the blister that comes out? Okay? You can have lock, drag, pull, when it only happens to one hose. Does it make any sense? And in the ITA, you might not have a question that simple. So what they'll do is they'll describe a situation. That's why the book that you guys have on that day, on the ITA final, is a thick book in there, guys. So every page might have 1 to 2 or 3 questions only like that, describing a scenario. You guys good? Which is not a brake fluid we currently use? 3, 5, silicone, castor oil is in the old days, right? Correct? So which is the one that is the same? Yeah, silicone .5, that's it. These two are the same, right? Which is the most common one? .3, right? So these are simple. Okay, like I say, right? Some of you guys are just taking a picture, hopefully, but I have guys that same as you guys taking a picture, yet they all fail. So what's the difference? Right? So what I'll do is I'll break down the questions and talk about these things here. And hopefully you'll remember some of this stuff. Okay, this one's interesting. Polyglycol. To be amber or clear in color. Basically by law. Okay? The reason why you have to be amber and clear in color so that you can see it when it's what? When it's dirty, right? Dirty or contaminated. Do we have a .6? Huh? No. There's no such thing then, right? Okay. So if you go to study, understand it. Hey, this one's out. There's no .6. This one's out. Okay? We know .5 is what? Silicone that we don't use, especially on the ABS brakes. So it's got to be .3 and .4. Okay? That's how I would handle this question. Instead of picking the right one, I'm going to try to get rid of these wrong ones first. Okay? Silicone brake fluid. What does it mean by inert? What is it? What's inert? Go. What is it? What is inert? Nick? Huh? Anybody? It doesn't react with anything. It doesn't react with anything. It just stays on its own. Does that make any sense? It doesn't react with anything. Can you give me another gas that's inert? Nitrogen. Nitrogen is inert. It's stable. They don't react with anything. You good? So silicone. You want something that don't react with anything. So because of that, it does not absorb what? It doesn't absorb what? Moisture. Good. Next one. Oh, this is a good one. Here. Modern brake tubing must be what? Why double wall? For what? For what? For strength. You good? Which one's the wrong answer, for sure? Huh? Copper is the wrong answer for sure. What about single wall? Not strong enough, right? What about able to withstand an internal pressure of 2,000 psi? That's a little bit overkill then, right? Does that make any sense? It'll be nice, but that's overkill, correct? Make any sense? Correct? The only thing that can handle 2,000 psi is probably something to do with stainless steel now, right? Correct? Right? Remember the direct injection system? Okay, next one. Yeah. A bulge on a brick hose. Right? You heard of a bulge in a brick hose? Hose with a bulge in there? I wouldn't call it an internal leak, though. Basically, what happens? What happened to it? What happened to the lining inside? It's wearing out, right? Should you replace the hose? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, right away, man. Right away. So you good? Ooh, look at this, eh? You see how they did SAE? Is it okay? What's a SAE? Imperial metric. Imperial. Okay. How many steps to make that fitting? Huh? 2. So you guys know when you're done, right? Yeah, what degree is that? 45, right? So obviously you guys are all done it that day, so I don't need to, right? As the brick fluid gets older, what happens? What happens to the boiling point? Remember we talked about the brick fluid, all I care about is the boiling point. When it gets heated up, huh? Does it go up or down? It goes down, man. Right? The boiling point actually goes down, and that's why we can we can stand a higher chance of getting brick fade with old brick fluid. And because of that, what are we supposed to do with brick fluid? As part of the service in a dealership, what do? We have to go flush it, right? Flush it, change, flush, whatever you want to call it. Does that make any sense? Okay, good. What is this? What are you eating? That's an ITA question, huh? Yeah, it's how do you know? What do you see there, buddy? Huh? You saw that fold, didn't you? Right? You saw that fold, man. Got double lip right there, SAE, man, right? Okay? I'm passes. How about this one here? Yeah, how'd you know? Did you see a double fold? Yeah. Okay. So I'm looking, you can do 2 things, right? You can look for a double fold, or you can look for like a bubble. Remember that? That's what I call ISO, right? The circle.
Well, that's
Why the fuck are you looking at everybody?
Huh?
That's equivalent.
Hey, there's only 2 types of flare right now.
That's better, man.
By the way, hey, the key one on the brake lines.
Yeah, that's
It's mine.
That's your quiz.
Looking at your fucking quiz, Josh.
Wow.
Shut the fuck up and fucking pay attention. Okay? For the brakes, it's either double or ISO. Okay, power steering is a little bit different. Bubble or ISO. What happened to air? Air, it's right. It's a form of gas. We can compress it, spongy brake pedal. Whoa. Okay, let's go. Brake line. Brake line, I want you to put down OD. That's it. Brake line, just put down OD. OD stands for what? Outside diameter. You good? Brake line's a measure for outside diameter. Yeah, let you read this one. You good? You good? You guys know that, right? When cutting a steel brake line, you should use a what? I guess they call a pipe cutter the tubing. You heard of a tubing cutter? That's what you guys use, right? A tubing cutter? Tubing should be arranged to avoid all the following except the use of a mounting clip. Tubing should be arranged to avoid all the following except the use of the mounting clip. Okay. So tubing, moving parts, tubing away from the exhaust system, tubing should never ever be straight runs right. We need to give room for what? To change the length, the vibration, all that. This one might not mean anything to you unless you're building a car, like you know the car that Alex built, who says, this is a stupid question, well down the road you guys might end up manufacturing a vehicle, right? What's a mounting clip? Mounting clip, these are the ones that holds the tubing in place. You good? Tubing should be timed with that. The good news is, because I'm giving you all these shit, you better not get these things wrong, Josh. Because that's the fucking wrench I'm gonna fucking program you with. A fucking pipe wrench. What's the real answer?
The flare nut.
Okay, it's a flare nut wrench. What's a flare nut wrench? How many points? Touching. How many?
6.
It's like
4.
How many?
It's supposed to be 5, but it's actually like
4.
Yeah.
How do you get 6? I think you and Josh should be together.
No.
wait a minute.
Go, look it up.
Yeah, it's 4. It's 4, man. Don't
Look it up.
You make me feel.
If you guys don't, if you guys use it, you got maybe
It's,
on your Moto Master, you got a
No,
six,
no,
you
no.
got a 6-9 flare wrench.
Yeah, I think it's 4.
it's 4.
You good? Okay, this one here, right?
No, that was before the no explanation. Let's go on.
Good. So what's the answer? What is it?
What?
Yeah.
Feel bad. I'm looking up for it, though.
When making a double flare, once a double has been pressed on the line, you should what? Right, that's a procedure, right? Correct? I bet you if you can do this question, you probably understand that, right?
Yeah.
So you know why that you guys need to go to do that skills comp regional? Does that make any sense? Like the reason why you're doing it, you guys gotta be okay answering all of these questions. Contaminated brake fluid, basically does everything. Right? Contaminated brake fluid. Okay, what do you mean by contaminated? We talk about, remember, accidentally putting what, oil in there? Glycol should be changed because they absorb fluid from the emissary, right? Hydraulic container must not be open to the will because they absorb. So what is the best practice when you open up a container of brake fluid? You should try to what? Either use it, but you only use half. You need to charge the customers probably for the whole thing, and because of that, if you're ever gonna run your own shop on Moonlight, just buy that 300, it's a 300 mil, buy the small bottle. I think it's easier to sell customers 2 small bottles than 1 big huge one, which he or she might not even need. Does that make any sense to you? The reason why you see my big huge 4-liter bottle, right, is because I do what? I get you guys to do bricks, go, flush them, do whatever. But I will never ever use those bottles in the real world, right? Because once you open it, it starts to what? Absorb moisture, okay? You good? Safety. Usually made out of steel. You good? Hydraulic fluid, change at regular interval, because they what? They have ability to absorb moisture, okay, and that's why we need to change them.
That's okay.
Does that make any sense to you? Single piston? Do we have a single piston master cylinder now? No. Why not? Because of piston, right? The whole thing will fail. Because we have how many? Dual, right? It's called dual. Brake line can be routed close to exhaust components and they're shielded by 2 layers of steel.
Hey.
Brake lines ideally should be mounted in rubber mounting bracket.
Shouldn't matter.
A flex line can be made, well, all I know is guessing.
No, that was like, true and false, like, I'm stuck out of it. That's right.
50-50 chance.
Huh? Yeah.
But like I say, right, with these true or false, I'm pretty sure you might not get,
True or
Yeah.
false?
true or false
Yes.
on Wednesday.
Fuck yeah.
I don't know, man. Your chance to go down to 25.
There you go.
Okay, good. Okay, tools and equipment. Oh, let's go fucking all
We good?
Okay, torques. So the okay if it's true or false, we just